Well, hello. I'm glad you're watching this devotional today. Have you ever heard of the English word, it takes two to tango? Well, this idiom is most often used to mean that it takes two people to contribute to an argument. In the case of a disagreement, both parties would then bear the responsibility of the situation or for the situation or the blame of the situation, and both should then make an effort to work out a resolution. Well, sounds good. I mean, both parties working together, seeking resolution, but is that really how it usually works out? With this in mind, I'd like to look at Matthew chapter 5, the Beatitudes, verse 9, which reads, "Blessed are the peacemakers." Now, let's begin by clearing up a few misconceptions about this word peacemaker. Peacemaking is not the absence of conflict. No, peace in the Bible is never confused with the idea of passivity. Peacemaking is not avoidance of strife. Never are we instructed to run from conflict and put our heads in the sand and hoping that the conflict will somehow end or go away. It only delays the inevitability. Well, peacemaking is also not the absence or the appeasement, rather, of the two parties. No, the peace at any price mentality is far from the biblical command. Peacemaking is not an accommodation of the issue either. The person who glosses over the problems, acting as if everything is all right, and it's not, is not a peacemaker. So to understand what Jesus is saying here, we must remember that peace in the Bible is always based upon two things: justice and righteousness. Now, where justice prevails and righteousness rules, there you will find also peace. But without those two virtues, really, long-lasting peace isn't possible. So we'll look at the two words in this verse, which are actually one word, the words peacemaker. The word make in the term peacemaker comes from a Greek word that is a verb. It's an action word. It means to do or to make. It's a word bursting with energy. It mandates two things: action and initiative. Now, it might look like someone's dragging one of the combatants, to the table to give a reason to put down their arms. For instance, it might be a marital conflict where both the husband and the wife are locking horns over an issue or an attitude, and unlocking those horns requires one or the other party to take initiative to bring the spouse to the table of forgiveness, which involves both conviction and confession to bring resolution. Now, in a verse, Jesus did not say, "Blessed are the peace wishers," or "Blessed are the peace hopers," or "Blessed are the peace dreamers," or "the peace lovers," or "the peace talkers." Those are all people that are bystanders, that are disengaged. They're passive onlookers. No, that's not what Jesus is talking about here. He's talking about peace must be made. Peace never just happens by chance. A peacemaker is never passive. They're always taking the initiative. They're always up and doing. For instance, no one dumps flour and sugar and eggs and all that other stuff in a bowl and expects a cake to take form on its own. Or pours gasoline into a tank on the lawnmower, expecting the engine to somehow start without even pulling the cord. Now, so when these two words come together, peace and maker, it describes someone who is actively engaged, actively pursuing peace. Peace pursues more than it's a pursuit of more than just the absence of conflict. Yes, that has something to do with it, but it's more than that. They don't avoid strife. In fact, sometimes a peacemaker will create strife. They aren't merely seeking an appeasement or of the two warring combatants. No, they aren't trying to accommodate everyone. An illustration of this would be the presentation of the gospel. Man's peace with God. It is a good example, I think. We would not expect someone to understand the good news on how they can have peace with God without first telling them of the bad news that their sin has separated them from him. As William Barclay, a Bible commentator, translates the verse, they are people who produce right relationships in every sphere of life. So if I had an opportunity to choose just one verse in the Bible that would summarize a peacemaker, it would be Romans chapter 12, verse 18. It's a concise, comprehensive verse, perfect for peacemakers like you and I. It reads, if it is possible, as far as it depends upon you, live at peace with everyone. Now notice how realistic Paul is here. He was talking about instigating peace, starting peace. The condition there is, if it is possible. Acknowledging that it's not always possible to make peace. I appreciate how realistic the scriptures are about conflict and about discord. Biblical peacemaking is neither sentimentality or passivity or being naive. It addresses the harsh realities of brokenness and evil in our world. And if you want to, check out the entire passage of Romans chapter 12, verses 17 to 21, to understand it in its full context, the importance of the verse. Even our most sincere efforts will fail, potentially. One commentator said about peacemakers aren't always peace achievers. I appreciate that. That's reality. So since making peace involves at least two parties, reconciliation then is obviously not always possible. But the responsibility for taking the steps towards peace always rests with the individual. We can't ignore it. And we can't wait for the other party to come to us. We are repeatedly commanded in the scriptures to take initiative in pursuing peace ourselves. Keep in mind, peace takes time. Peace is not static, but rather it's active, which requires a constant attention and care, tweaking, caring for, massaging, nurturing. An activity by its very nature takes place over time. Well, people whom Jesus called, blessed are those who go out and make, in the power of the Spirit, the initiative and reconciliation. Peacemakers, peacemaking is a divine work. God is the author of peace, and Jesus is the supreme peacemaker. Jesus came to establish peace. His message explained peace. His death purchased peace. And his resurrected presence, which we're about to celebrate on this Sunday, enables peace. So think about it. The Messianic predictions were that he would be called the Prince of Peace in Isaiah chapter 9, verse 6. The angels announced his birth by singing, "Glory to God in the highest heaven, and peace on earth to people he favors." Jesus' persistent word of forgiveness to sinners was, "Go in peace." And just before he was crucified, Jesus' last will and testament was found in John chapter 24, verse 36. "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give you as the world gives." And then finally, when the Lord returns after his resurrection, his first words to his disciples was shalom, peace to you. Well, Jesus in verse 9 says, "Blessed are the peacemakers, because they will be called the sons of God." Yeah, the word called means to be an official, designated as holding a particular rank or office, like being named the chairperson of a committee, or choosing a captain, or designated the spokesperson. Jesus says that those who are peacemakers will be known and recognized as what they really are, the sons of God. Now you may assume that at first glance the sons of God means the same as the children of God, but the terms are different. They're not quite identical. A child of God is one who is part of the family. It is a statement of position. But a son of God is one who is like the family. It's a statement of character. A son of God is one who not only carries on the family name, but bears the family resemblance in reputation. So, take a few minutes to ponder this question. Do people know you as both a child of God and a son of God? And if not, what needs to change? Well, enjoy discovering the answer as you ask this question, sitting before your Lord and asking for His words on the topic. Thanks again for being here. Hope you continue to view the devotionals and be blessed as a result of it. Bye-bye.